Good morning, dear students. In the previous class, I have taught you about the Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, so we have discussed all the four dynasties which ruled in the Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, so they are the Sangama dynasty, Saluva dynasty, Tuluva dynasty, and Aravidu dynasty. And the founder of Vijayanagar dynasty is Harihara and Bukkaraya. Yes. So also there are so many prominent king there. So they are Devaraya II, that is the Prouda Devaraya, and the Krishna Devaraya. So these are the some important kings of the Vijayanagar Empire. And the very important battle, that is the Rakkastangadi battle, that was a very important battle that was took place on 23rd January of 1565. Yes. So after that war, the fall of Vijayanagar Empire, the Karnataka, it came under the three administrative rulings. Yes. So they were Vijaypur, Keladi, and Mysore. Yes, after the Vijayanagar Empire, when the Vijayanagar Empire fall down, so Karnataka, it become under the three administrative rulings. So they are Vijaypur, yes, and next Keladi, and next one is Mysore. Yes, so after the decline of Vijaypur, Mughals and Marathas ruled many regions of Karnataka. Yes, and even with presence of these three rulers, Keladi and Mysore states protected themselves well from them, and they continued the traditions and practices of Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, and Palepattus, that is feudatory kingdoms, they also grew up in the Chitradurga, yes, and Surupura and Yelahanka. Yes, so let us see Nayakas of Keladi. Yes, so Nayakas of Keladi, they also known as Nayakas of Bidnur and Ikkeri. Yes, and Nayakas were an Indian dynasty. They based from Keladi, from Shimoga district. Yes, and they were an important ruling dynasty in the post-medieval Karnataka. And they initially ruled as a vassal of the famous Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, as we know, when the Vijayanagar Empire fall down, then the Nayakas of Keladi, they came to power. Yes, and they gained independence and ruled significant parts of Malnad regions of the Western Ghats, and at present in our Karnataka, yes, Western Ghats, in that is Shimoga district. Yes, and most areas in the coastal regions of Karnataka and parts of the northern Kerala, Malabar, and central plains along the Tungabhadra river. So let's see more information of Nayakas of Keladi. Yes, so that is the fourth lesson name is Nayakas, Palegharas, and Nada Prabhus. So among them, let's we start about the Nayakas of Keladi. Yes. So they ruled from 1499 to 1763 Common Era. So let us see Nayakas or Palegharas. Yes, under the control of Vijayanagar Empire, there were many small kings. Yes, and they are called as Nayakas, that is chieftains or Palegharas. Yes, and the places which were ruled by these chiefs are called Palepattus. Yes, the Vijayanagar Empire, there were so many small kings, and they are called as Nayakas. And the places or the regions which were ruled by that peoples, that is chiefs, they are known as Palepattus. So among these chiefs, Nayakas of Keladi and Nayakas of Chitradurga are famous. Yes, among the so many Palepattus, only the Nayakas of Keladi and the Nayakas of Chitradurga are very important. Yes, so Keladi, it was founded in 1499 Common Era during the Vijayanagar period, and later it became independent. Yes, So keladi, so it was founded in the year 1499 and later it became independent. And the leaders of keladi were ruling the coastal and Malenadu regions of Karnataka. Yes, so keladi leaders, they are belonging to coastal area and the Malenadu regions of Karnataka. Yes, and the keladi province was large and prosperous, so it has very vast scope of their empire. Yes, and keladi consisted of Shivamogga. Yes, so you can observe here the keladi that is in the Western Ghat. So it has a very vast empire. So that empire included Shivamogga district, Dakshin Kannada district, Udupi, Kasaragod, yes, and Tumkuru, Chitradurga, Dharwad and Uttar Kannada areas. So let us see the prominent king among the Nayakas of keladi. So Hiriya Venkatappa Nayak, he was born in 1582 and he ruled till 1629 common era. So his name is Venkatappa Nayak, is very popular among the kings of keladi. Yes, and also in his period the keladi kingdoms attained complete freedom. Yes, and he took out a military expedition till river Chandragiri in the coastal region with the help of Queen Abbakka Devi. Yes, and he defeated the Portuguese in Mangalore. Yes, so he has expanded his empire with the help of Queen Abbakka Devi, and with her help he defeated the Portuguese in Mangaluru. Yes, and he defeated Adil Shah forces of Vijaypur and established a victory pillar in Hanagal. Yes, and he encouraged all religions. Yes, so this is all about Hiriya Venkatappa Nayaka. So let us see one more prominent king. His name is Shivappa Nayak. Yes, so he is Shivappa Nayak. He was born in 1645 and he ruled till 1660 common era. Yes, so Shivappa Nayak, he was also a famous keladi king, and he occupied the coastal forts of the Portuguese and got the title Padugada Rodeya. Yes, he occupied the coastal forts, that's why he got a title. What is that title? That is Padugada Rodeya. Yes, and also he built strong forts in Mangalore, Bekal and Chandragiri. Yes, where it is Chandragiri? That is in Kerala. Yes, and for the security of his kingdom he has built so many forts. Yes, and Shivappa Nayak, he was a pious man. Yes, that is he has a spiritual man. Yes, and he also encouraged the traders of Goa to settle in his state for the development of trade. And the Christians of Goa were experts in agriculture, and he encouraged them to migrate to his state and provided land and other contributions. Yes, and he made a strict rule that the Christian priest should be a local person. Yes, so this is all about Shivappa Nayak. So let us see the Shistu of Shivappa Nayak. Yes, what is Shistu? Shistu, yes, Shistu in Kannada, not yes, in Kannada Shistu, that is not Shistu. Yes, not discipline. So let us see what is Shistu. The revenue system started by Shivappa Nayak was called as Shistu. Yes, what is the meaning of Shistu? That is a revenue system. It is a revenue system. Yes, and as per this, the fixation of land revenue was based on the fertility of the land. Yes, the fixation of tax, it is based on the fertility of the land, and about 1/3 of the production was collected as land revenue. Yes, they have collected 1/3 of the production as a land tax. Yes, and this systematic revenue system was called Shistu of Shivappa Nayak. Yes, he implemented the collection of tax, that is 1/3 of the production, it was collected by the farmers And the systematic revenue system, it is known as the Shistu of Shivappa Nayak. Got it? Okay. So the Shistu system led to the development of Malenadu. Yes. So this is the Shistu, the system of collecting tax. It led to the development of Malenadu region. Yes. So let us see, next one is Queen Chennammaji. Yes. So she was born in 1672 and 1696 till he took power. Okay. So let us see, Queen Chennammaji, the daughter-in-law of Shivappa Nayak, took over power after him. Yes. So she was a daughter-in-law of Shivappa Nayak. Yes. And she repelled the Mughals army and gave protection to Chhatrapati Rajaram, the son of Shivaji. Yes. She was very brave woman. She repelled the Mughals army and she also gave the protection to the Chhatrapati Rajaram. Yes. Who is Chhatrapati Rajaram? So he was the son of Shivaji. And also Chennamma, the symbol of valor and sacrifice of Karnataka, fought war even with the Mysore armies. She has also fight to the Mughal army and also she has fight with the Mysore army. Yes. And the keladi kings built temples, agraharas, devas mats. Yes. And among them the Agoreshwara temple in Ikkeri, it is very famous for sculpture. Yes. And the mutts were the centers of boarding, that is food facilities and the education facilities. Yes. And they contributed generously to all the religions, and Chennammaji gifted land for the Christian churches in Mangaluru. Yes. On account of the continuous wars with the Mysore and internal wars, the keladi kingdom, they became weak, and later Hyder Ali occupied the keladi kingdom. Yes. So this is all about Nayakas of Keladi. So in the next class I will explain the Nayakas of Chitradurga. Okay. So there is one video related to this chapter. Watch that video. Thank you.
Chennamma, October 23, 1778 to February 21, 1829, the warrior queen of Karnataka, was the first woman independence activist of Bharat. She stood all alone with a vibrant, fiery eye against the British Empire. Rani Chennamma did provoke many women to rise against the British rule. She was Chennamma, queen of the princely state Kittur in Karnataka. Today she is well known as Kittur Rani Chennamma. In the state of Karnataka she is celebrated along with the Bakar Rani, Keladi Chennamma and Onakobava. Let us take a few steps back in history to know more about her. Early life. Rani Chennamma was born in Takati, a small village in north of Belgaum in Karnataka, in 1778, that is almost 56 years earlier than Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. From a very young age she received training in horse riding, sword fighting and archery. She was well known for her brave acts across her town. Rani Chennamma was married to Malla Sarja Desai, ruler of Kittur, at the age of 15. Her married life seemed to be a sad tale after her husband died in 1816. With this marriage she had only one son, but fate seemed to play a tragic game in her life. Her son breathed his last in 1824, leaving the lonely soul to fight against the British rule. After her son's death in 1824, she adopted Shivalingappa and made him heir to the throne. The British East India Company did not accept this and ordered Shivalingappa expulsion using a policy of paramountcy and complete authority. Doctrine of lapse officially codified between 1848 and 1856 by Lord Dalhousie, but Chennamma defied the order. Queen Chennamma. During the British rule, the doctrine of lapse was imposed on native states by the British. Under this declaration, native rulers were not allowed to adopt a child if they had no children of their own. Their territory formed part of the British Empire automatically. The state of Kittur came under the administration of Dharwad Collectorate in charge of Mr. Thackeray. Mr. Chaplin was the commissioner of the region. Both did not recognize the new ruler and the regent and informed that Kittur had to accept the British regime. War against the British. Rani Chennamma and the local Karnataka people opposed strongly British high-handedness. Rani Chennamma sent a letter to Governor at Bombay to plead the cause of Kittur, but Elphinstone turned down the request and war broke out. The British tried to confiscate the treasure and jewels of Kittur valued around 15 lakhs of rupees. The British attacked with a force of 200 men and 4 guns, mainly from the 3rd Troop of Madras Native Horse Artillery. In the first round of war during October 1824, British forces lost heavily and St. John Thackeray, collector and political agent, was killed by Kittur forces. Amateur Balappa, a lieutenant of Chennamma, was mainly responsible for the killing of the British collector and losses to British forces. 2 British officers, Sir Walter Elliot and Mr. Stevenson, were also taken as hostages. Rani Chennamma released the hostages with an understanding with Chaplin that the war would be terminated, but Chaplin continued the war with more forces. The humiliation of defeat at the hands of a small ruler was too much for the British to swallow. They brought in bigger armies from Mysore and Solapur and surrounded Kittur. During the second assault, sub-collector of Solapur, Mr. Munro, nephew of Sir Thomas Munro, was killed. The valiant queen and her soldiers defended the fort, but as is the common trait, traitors sneaked in and mixed mud and dung in the gunpowder in the cannons. Rani Chennamma fought fiercely with the aid of her lieutenant Sangali Rayana, but was ultimately captured and imprisoned at Bahongal Fort 1824 CE. Kept in the fort of Bahongal for life, she spent her days reading holy texts and performing puja till her death on the 21st of February 1829 CE. Sangoli Rayana continued the guerrilla war up to 1829 until his capture. He wanted to install their adopted boy Shivalingappa as the ruler of Kittur, but he was caught due to treachery and hanged. Shivalingappa was arrested by the British. Rani Chennamma has become a legend. During the freedom movement, her brave resistance to British formed theme of play songs and song stories. Folk songs Olavanis were a legion, and freedom struggle got a good boost through singing bards who moved throughout the region. Kittur Rani Chennamma etched her presence for many centuries in the world of history. Chennamma, born 56 years before the 1857 rebel Rani Lakshmibai, was the first woman to fight against British governance and Thakapa tax. Her legacy and first victory are still commemorated in Kittur during the Kittur Utsava of every 22 to 24 October. Along with Onakobava Abaka Rani and Keladi Chennamma, she is much revered in Karnataka as an icon of bravery. It is heart-turning news that a statue of Kittur Chennamma was installed in the parliamentary building premises at New Delhi on 11 September 2007. It is the most fitting tribute to a brave queen who was the earliest ruler in Bharat to fight the British rule.